You're gonna stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me you don't have no whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, whisker biscuits, honky lighters, Husker do's, Husker don'ts, cherry bombs, nipsy daisers, with or without the scooter stick, or one single whistling kitty chaser?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cleverly Titled Conversations, brought to you by the video production and audio production company Cleverly Titled Creative. I am Isaiah Dominguez, obviously, because I've been here before. I was probably the only one on a couple episodes, but I'm super excited to get into this conversation that we have today because I have one of my good friends, Craig Richard, who is a cinematographer, videographer, photographer, any kind of ographer, topographer, geographer, maybe philosopher of some kind.
That'd be cool if I was a philosopher.
Me, and I'm, and yeah, I am super excited to have him because we got to meet not too long ago, probably a couple of years ago in Maryville. He goes to school there at Northwest Missouri State College. Is that what it's called?
University. You almost had it.
University. You know what? Almost. I was only a resident of the Midwest for 4 years, and that's it. But I guess, Craig, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to give everybody just like the quickest breakdown of what it is that you do?
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to explain everything I do because, as he just said, he's like every you know what. But a lot of what I do is at campus on Northwest. I am general manager of KNWT. So I run the TV station, basically kind of oversee everything happening in the TV station, give critiques every single week to our 11 different TV shows we have on campus. And then besides that, I run my own full freelance business doing cinematography. So whether that be like wedding films, music videos, anything that comes about, really, documentaries. I'm working on a couple short films, working on a TV show with one of my buddies, Isai. Yeah, and then I also do live production. So that's a little different. Live production, whether it be like football games. I'm gonna start working at this new place called LTN Global. They do a sports show that is live 18 hours a day for 7 days a week. So they do
is this ESPN?
It is not, but it's like that basically. Yeah. So I'm going to help out with that. So I'm kind of all over the place. I want to do live production. I want to do short films. I want to do music videos. It's just kind of like whatever floats my boat at the moment, I guess.
Yeah. So you do a little bit of everything. What would you say that you call yourself? Would you say you call yourself? Because, okay, so the reason that I asked this is because I've met a lot of like quote unquote videographers who are very upset at the title videographer and they want to be called something else, filmmaker, cinematographer. And I acknowledge that like that's a very important distinction between all of them. But I'm always interested what people like to be called and what they like their title to be. If you were to introduce yourself to somebody, what would you say?
I would say director and cinematographer right now. That director can also like lead with either live production or directing with music videos and that sort of thing. But the big thing I difference like videographer from cinematographer is using cinematography gear. That's pretty much the big difference because sure. When you go from using like videography gear, which is like just using like a Sony camera or like that, when you get into more cinematography gear, it's a lot more, everything's manual. You have to watch all your environments to make it look the best. I think that's the true distinction between videographer and like cinematographer.
That's true. I guess I never thought of it that way. I have used a handful of like cinematography gear and a handful of just like what would you call it, like recreational videography?
I'm not really
gear, like
recreational,
Sony.
just videography gear. I mean there's a difference between like if you're gonna go buy like cinematography rigs, you know, like that's like expensive, or you're gonna go buy like a rig for a videographer that's not near as expensive. Is like the big difference.
Oh yeah,
really.
Yeah. So what's the price break there? I mean, I know what the price break is, but for other people who know what the price want to know what the price break is, like this is the difference between like a Red camera and a Canon T2i, or I don't. That's so old. A T2i. That's probably like
400.
That's probably like, yeah.
I mean, the big difference is like Red. I mean, not so much, I don't want to say so much price difference, because everything's changing now to where you can get, I have a cinema camera that's $1,400. Like, it's not like that big of a price difference now. There's more videography cameras that are a lot more expensive than that. Like the new Sonys that just came out that are like $3,000 or $4,000.
Sure.
But that's for like different, because that's for like different environments you're using it. Like, it's going to be more for like low light photos. But the big difference, I think, is shooting RAW. Like, RAW video is a big difference between shooting video out of a Sony, because, you know, with my Blackmagic, I can shoot, I can change my ISO in post. So the big difference is between, you can perfect your image with a cinematography camera, whereas so much the Sony or like DSLRs hold you back to a certain limitation.
You can adjust your ISO in post with a Blackmagic camera?
I can.
That is something I did not know, and that is good information to know. So, but like, how did you know you wanted to upgrade to like a cinematography setup? Because obviously, like, cinematography setups are a lot more complex, right? Like, there's a lot more to worry about. You have to worry about every aspect of, you have to worry about pulling focus. You have to worry about your ISO or your exposure. You have to worry about your white balance. You have to worry about all of these things. And so at what point in your career were you saying, like, I would actually like to make my job more inconvenient and less convenient?
I mean, the big difference is like more of knowing what you want to go into. Like, if you're going to go like more into like wedding videography and make that your full-time gig, or like more YouTube style, then go all by means, stay with the video cameras, because they're just going to keep getting better and better. But I chose the cinematography route because I know I want to get like more into like big music video sets, big sets that were like I worked on a set, what was it, in August, where we had a 3-ton grip truck of RE Sky panels and everything like that. Like, you know, if you want a big setup like that, you're not going to be using a Sony A7 III. I'm sorry, you're going to be using some type of cinema camera to make it look even way better than what it is. So
sure. Right. Yeah. That's some big boy gear. That's not like the weekend wedding shoot.
No.
That is, and I hate to rag on weddings, because I feel like it takes a very specific type of like videographer to do weddings.
Yes.
And it is such a it's such a all or nothing industry, right? Like, cause you either get the shot or you don't. Like, weddings are very stressful in that way. As somebody who's done weddings and is doing weddings, and then I'm sure Craig doing weddings too.
Yeah.
Like, it's very stressful. So I hate to rag on weddings, but it is also like the punching bag of the video industry, I feel like.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'm still doing weddings right now just because it's where I can like profit the most right now, sort of say. But like in the future, I just want to be doing like weddings for like my closest friends. Like, I don't want to do.
Sure.
I can't do it full time. There's just.
Would you do a big production for one of your friends' weddings? Would you do like a Ari Alexa with some like, or like a red, I'm trying to think, a red weapon?
Oh yeah.
And just give them the $10,000 wedding video treatment for like the homies, if you hook the homies up.
Yeah, I mean, if I ever own a red, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, that new red that's coming out though.
The Komodo? That Komodo, I've seen a couple of the reviews on it, and I am astounded. The thing that people don't understand about like a red though, is that you purchase just the brain, right? You and you have to outfit it. So it's like so the red may cost, I think it's like 6,000.
Yeah,
right? Like it may cost
Komodo.
like,
yeah,
right. It may cost like $6,000, but you have to outfit it with like a screen, because it doesn't have a screen on it, and lenses and lens adapters and all of the things that you might need for that. So that's what happens with cinematography gear also, right? Like that adds on to the cost.
That's exactly what I had to do when I bought that Blackmagic, because I didn't have anything for it. It's a $1,400 camera, but I ended up spending $4,000 plus to get all the stuff I needed for it. So
right, and it has a 4/3 mount, which like nobody, like, who uses a 4/3 mount? So you have to get some kind of like speed booster in order to outfit it. So I'm curious. We're talking about cinematography stuff. We're talking about the cost of it, the high production value. What if you're somebody who like doesn't have all of this money? Let's start from the beginning, I guess. Let's start from the beginning. When did you start doing video and photography?
I started my senior year of high school, so 2017. And today is 2020.
Your senior year of high school was 2017?
Yeah,
Jesus
bro.
Christ,
I'm young.
Craig. Jesus Christ, Craig. How are you going to do this to me? You're going to Okay, anyways, 2017, senior year in high school, you started doing videos or just photography?
So I took a broadcasting class at my high school, and they made us like do stories every single week, like broadcast stories, but we also did like some like fun type of stories. So then what I did was what actually got me interested though in this was I did a national competition. My teacher wanted me to get into it because maybe she saw something good in me. I don't know. I was like, I'm making videos. I'm trash. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe she saw something.
It's okay if you want to shout out the teacher, you absolutely can.
Miss Sobey, you're the one. You're a real one.
Miss Sobey, you're a real one, Miss Sobey.
But
if you're listening.
But anyways, she, I guess, just wanted me to enter this national competition, so I did. Made the story about one of my good friends that has muscular dystrophy, and they're like told him that he wouldn't be able to walk by 18 and he wouldn't be able to play sports and all this stuff. And then I actually ended up winning second place in nationals for the sports story I made. So then I realized, I was like, maybe I'm actually decent at something.
And up till that point, did you have any like idea that you were were you like interested? Because a lot of people that I've talked to that are like interested in videography and especially cinematography are like they loved watching movies growing up, or like they loved going to they loved music videos or whatever it is. It's hardly ever just like, oh yeah, I tried this and I was like, I'm kind of good at it. So, but that was your case.
I mean, not really. Until I took that class, I really wasn't interested. I was more of a sports kind of guy. I played baseball my whole life, played football some. I was kind of like, I think I was just kind of stuck in somewhere I didn't know what I was wanting to do with my life, my whole high school. Sure. I guess sports just took over my life.
That sounds like high school.
I mean, yeah, it does sound like high school for sure. But yeah, that just, I mean, yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
So you took this class, you made this film, and you were like, wow, I'm doing pretty good. I actually won second place. And this was probably like the first year that you had been making videos.
Yeah.
And at that point, you just were on fire for it. You just started making more and more. Or?
Yeah. So the crazy thing is I had two of my best friends, Joe and Paxton, in high school. They kind of, I guess, like supported me, and it was just kind of cool. So we would like on the weekends when we didn't have anything to do, like Fridays and Saturdays, we'd go to like downtown KC, where our parents hated us going all the time, but we were going there like nonstop. But Joe and Paxton had no idea of video and photo stuff, but they always just tagged along with me, and we would just go shoot around the city to just practice, basically, is what I did. It was like every weekend. Like, I was never at home on the weekends because I was always trying to do that kind of stuff. And I just kind of took a camera with me everywhere.
That's a super good. Having been to Kansas City and like downtown Kansas City too. That's a really good backdrop to like have in your backyard kind of thing.
Right.
I'm originally from Olympia, Washington, which is like the state capital, but nobody really knows it as that because everybody knows Seattle, which is just an hour north. So having the backdrop of like Seattle was a really great thing for like me to be able to use to have just like cityscape type of videography, photography. So for you to have Kansas City, are you from like the actual city, Kansas City?
Not like, so Kansas City's massive, you know, like the metropolitan area is like one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the country.
Sure.
If you didn't know that, it's pretty big.
It was pretty big when I visited it.
It takes like an hour to get to one side of the metropolitan to the other. So, and that's with no traffic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But no, I live the very north side of the city. So right before like you get to like Smithville. So pretty north side of it.
Okay.
But it was only like 10-15 minute drive down to downtown. So it's not like it's far away.
Is that the Missouri side or the Kansas
Missouri side? Don't even ask that question. If you're from Kansas City, Kansas, you're just like not even a part of Kansas City. I'm sorry.
Is there true beef between Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri?
Oh yeah, man. The funniest thing that happens is like when a musician comes to Kansas City, but they're in the Missouri side, and they say, "What's up, Kansas City, Kansas?" And then everyone in the crowd is like,
no.
"Really? This is Kansas City, Missouri." And some people will be screaming, "F you, get off the stage."
I can't relate. I haven't had a musician call it like Seattle, Portland, or Portland, Seattle. So but they are basically the same city, I guess. I mean, one is much more populated now.
Yeah.
But so you get through, you're making these videos. What kind of gear are you using?
Oh, you don't even want to know what I was using then. I was using my dad's Nikon D7000. Like,
which, okay. So for people who don't know what a D7000 is, why don't you fill them in?
Let's just say it's a DSLR, but Nikon, I'm sorry, Nikon users, but Nikon is for photos. Please do not use Nikons for video. It just does not look good.
That's pretty. So you're using this old, I'm assuming, DSLR.
Oh yeah, it's probably from like 2010. We're in like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah, which in camera years is very old.
Oh, yeah.
It's like computer years. If you have a 7-year-old computer, it's not worth nearly what it was at the time.
Exactly.
So you're running around and making these videos. When was the first time that you were like, this camera is not suiting my needs? Like, I need to upgrade what I'm using right now because everything looks like I shot it on a potato.
Freshman year of college. That's when I switched to, because I'm in my senior year now. But freshman year of college is when I decided I wanted to switch. I was also in like a rough patch in my life freshman year, so it was just like whatever. But I got a Sony, the Sony A6300 my freshman year of college.
Mm-hmm. And that was because you were like, you saw something in your productions and you were like, I could make this so much better if I had a better camera.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Sony A6300 is still a great camera today, and it's like pretty cheap. It's just like the autofocus is what's like when you're trying to learn. I mean, I would definitely just like get a good autofocus camera when you're trying to learn, and then you can learn that manual whenever you want.
Sure.
But the Sonys are really good for learning manual as a whole, like learning what shutter speeds you need to use, ISO, what f-stop is working the best for you. I mean, all those in the Sonys just like make you learn a lot easier than most cameras.
Did you ever take a class on like utilizing your camera, or was it kind of trial by error?
So, I mean, the Sony, the one camera I had, I just watched YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, I guess 2017 is YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That's the advent of like I can learn everything on YouTube at this point.
Yeah, but I have some courses here at Northwest that were like video production, cinematography, classes like that. Yeah.
Do those teach you more of like the nuts and bolts of like utilizing a camera, or does it teach you more like the how to use light to convey feeling and how to like properly set dress a setting, or like how to make something look staged versus look organic?
It was more the nuts and bolts. We had a really bad professor when I took those courses, so I didn't really gain that much out of that. I gained a lot more out of trial and error by myself. But then I also had another professor. His name is Will Murphy, who has helped me a lot. He's the guy that is the advisor of the TV station. So he's the one that I've learned a ton from. But the professor that actually taught those courses, he got fired for drinking on the job, and that's another story. But
well, that is some tea. That is not like a typical. When you said I had a bad professor, I was assuming it was somebody who was like, oh, I don't really care about this job. I'm tenured. I'm not really interested in teaching students. I don't really care. But no, you were talking about like this dude. This dude was riding hard. This dude was drinking on the job, and that's how did he get caught? I mean, I'm sure you guys knew, right?
So it was unfortunate. I mean, I was in Vegas when this happened, so I was enjoying life. But I was actually in that class where it happened, but I wasn't there at the moment. I was in Vegas.
Do you have any Vegas videos?
Oh yeah.
Or none that we can see?
I mean, I got some.
They see the light of day? Your Vegas videos see the light of day?
I don't know if they ever saw the day, because I was at NAB.
I got you. Okay, so you upgraded your camera for the first time. Do you ever miss your rig being so simple and knowing the ins and outs of your rig? Because I don't know how quickly you upgrade your rigs. With me, it's like I'll run something into the ground so I know exactly how to use it. I'm not like a quick upgrader. I'm always like let me figure out how to do everything I can possibly do with this. Let me create the best possible product with this camera, and then when I can't go any higher. I can't like get any more out of this. That's when I know it's time to switch.
So if it wasn't for getting robbed, which is another story, I would have the same exact Sony that I'm filming with right now. But I had to get a different one because, I got robbed.
You know what is so crazy? I think that's when I first met you, was when you got robbed, right? It was around that same time.
No, it was the night of, because we filmed sessions, and then it was
right.
The night. It was the same night that it happened.
That's right. That is insane. That is so crazy to think about. Oh, I mean, we've known each other for a short amount of time, but just like, so you got robbed. We were running a session. My band was down in Maryville, Missouri, where your college is.
Yeah.
And we had played for Northwest Sessions, which is like a live, what would you call it? Live music broadcast?
Live music session. TV show?
Yeah, it's like a live music broadcast, in-studio session kind of thing. We had played that, and then I believe we were going over to the pub, which is basically the only bar in Maryville. I heard that there are other ones that are also like pseudo-strip clubs, but
Yeah, pretty much.
but I was like, the pub was by far like. And that was, by the way, one of the funniest shows I've ever been to, because the opener that we had brought with us got absolutely roasted on stage before we went on. But that's when me and Craig first met, was in that studio session. And then I remember later, I don't know. Actually, I remember later you had either texted me or something, and you said that like somebody had broken into your apartment or something like that.
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah, that's what happened. Because I was going to come up there, I think, to the pub, and then I decided not to because I was a freaking
that's what it
wrecking
was.
ball.
I was like, did you not go to the show, you dirty piece of shit, bad friend? I'm just kidding.
I like chucked a Windex bottle and I was like, what the fuck?
That is
sorry,
so
I didn't
bad.
know if I could cuss. Sorry, podcast.
No. You are absolutely allowed to. I've already tagged this with the explicit tag. So we're not only can you curse, but you can also get naked on camera if you wanted to. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying you have that prerogative if you'd like. But anyways, back to the point. Do you ever miss having such a simple rig?
I mean, I still
do you ever
use
want to
it
go back
like
to
day to day. Like it just depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing like this, I'll just use the Sony because there's no point of having a giant rig that's gonna look kind of similar.
Sure.
The big difference is just when like if I'm doing like client work is when I'm going to definitely be using a bigger setup.
For sure. Definitely. Man, I had something to bounce off of that too. The simple rig. Oh, I was going to say, do you find that when you upgrade your rig, your imagination kind of is limited by how much options you have now? Right? Because there's this, I don't know if phenomena is the right term, but there's this thing where if you have limited resources, you have to be more creative with how you use them, right? Like, because you only have so much that you can work with. And then when you have unlimited resources, you're just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, at least for myself, it's like, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how much of this to use versus how much of it is not usable anymore. You know?
I mean, that's where I'm trying not to get like so much into the gear because gear shouldn't matter as much. Like, I mean, yes, I have a nice camera. It helps me out a lot. I've seen within like just the year 2020 how much my videos have changed. Like the quality of it is just like, man, I'm actually making some quality stuff. And I mean, like,
that's sick. It's cool to be able to appreciate that you're making something good, right? Because I think a lot of times you're just like, man, I suck. This video suck. At least that's my. This is going to be how Isaiah has no self-confidence versus how everyone else in the creative world has self-confidence. But
I mean,
it's cool that you're seeing your stuff and you're like.
I mean, in a year's time, I'm going to think that video was terrible. So. Like I look back at it,
as well you should, Craig.
Like I had a client over today to watch their new. I've been working with Alpha Sigma Alpha, which is a sorority here on campus, and I had them over today to watch the video I made for their bid day, and they're like, "Oh, let's watch the old one. I want to see the difference." And I was like, "The video was complete shit." And they're like, "Oh my god, no, it was so good." And I'm like,
No. I do not like when people are like, let me compare the old one versus. I'm like, please don't. I made a new one because the old one was bad, and so that's why I made a new one.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever have somebody who like prefers the old version over the new version? I mean, I don't know how many projects you've had.
I mean, that could happen, but I mean, a lot of stuff I've been working on. I mean, yeah. Some music video stuff I've been working on recently where we like filmed in like Hy-Vee Arena. It just didn't end up working out. So we're like not going to release the video.
Oh, I think I saw some Instagrams of that.
Yeah.
Or some Instagram where you had been shooting all day in like Hy-Vee Arena and you had like I'm trying to remember what the setup looked like, but I guess I could comb through Instagram if I
so
wanted
imagine
to,
like your arena in your city. Which like holds like basketball games and stuff. We completely used one where we dimmed the lights all the way dark and then just lit it with like two aperture 120Ds and basically like made like a spotlight effect on him as like a table, and it just didn't end up working like the vision we hoped it to be. I mean, that's where like older projects like we made when it was quarantine in April, we made like literally the most simple video I've ever made. Like it was just him in the street rapping, and it's at
Yeah.
750,000 views right now and about to hit 1 million. So it's just like, literally I made the most simplest video where we've made all these other
Right.
videos where they're like so much more complex, and it was just like we're getting that many views just off of we're filming in a street in
What's
his
this
neighborhood.
video?
It's
I want to see this video. What's it called?
It's PM Beta's what's it called?
Well, probably just pull up, right? Oh, it's not
Yeah.
Rockstar, is
Yeah,
it?
it's the Rockstar remix.
Okay. Yeah, this is literally, I mean, just from the preview, it's literally somebody in their street in what looks to be their
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yep. Exactly.
That's, and this one is, do you think that has to do with like how easy the video is or that song? Because this is we're talking about the Baby song, right?
Yeah, the remix. Yeah.
Which that was, can I just say that was probably the widest way to say that, but we're talking about that Baby song. Am I correct?
But
Yeah.
I mean,
That song is huge and has been huge for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so he chose a really good beat. I'm assuming it's just like a beat that he like is running his own cipher on top
yeah,
of.
and I think he made it better than the original, so that's maybe why it sounds so good.
That is that. Oh my goodness, that is a hot take. That is a spicy hot take right now.
And if you've never listened to my boy PM Beta, listen to him, bro. He just hit 1 million.
He's shouting him out.
He got Nobody Came to My Party, his first song to hit 1 million, just hit 1 million. So
Dang.
it's a banger song.
So how did you start working in music videos?
Yeah, so it was actually my first music video with PM. Was my first music video.
Is he a childhood friend or
No, so he ended up playing soccer with my best friend from high school, and I started making music videos, and that was Joe, the guy I mentioned earlier. And Joe was like, "You should work with this guy I used to play soccer with. He's like so good at rapping." And PM's been rapping since like he was 10, so like this dude is like he's talented. Like his music talent is unreal because like he can take anything and make it from scratch. So he even like plays the saxophone in his raps, and he'll make all the off of instruments. So he's super talented, and I just made a music video. We're like, hey, let's make a music video. And I was like, all right, it's gonna be a free video because I have no idea what I'm doing, first of all, and I'll probably never watch that music video again because it is terrible. But I made a music video.
Was it for an original song or was it for kind of like a mixtape?
No, it was original. It was called "Moving Fast" by PM Beta, and it's
Okay.
yeah, it's just. I mean, he's also.
Is it online?
Yeah, it's still on his profile, I think.
Oh boy.
Let's look. He might have deleted it since he's been gaining a lot of subs.
Moving Fast video official. Oh no, that looks like so 2018
Yeah, 2018.
with the scribble effect. There's scribble effect on there.
It's gross.
It looks moody. It's in like an underpass, a freeway underpass.
Yeah, there's
that
like
what
just
it
a
is?
bunch of random shots. It's like that typical music video where you're just like, yo, moving fast, moving fast. And you're just like,
Okay.
and you're just like, oh, it's just like rapping in front of the camera.
Sure.
What's up?
Does he does he still claim that song too?
Oh, yeah.
Does he play it at his like
Oh, no.
does he play shows?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I mean nobody plays shows right now.
he
but,
does play some shows, but not currently, obviously.
right. And he doesn't that's not a deep cut that like his fans are really begging for, are they?
No. If he if he plays his show, everyone's gonna be like, "Play Nobody Came to My Party." But yeah,
Okay.
that song's. He'll even tell me that song's trash now. So we're over that point of like 2 years ago, like that stuff was trash. Let's just keep on going because
Bigger and better things.
yeah.
And so are you more interested in doing music videos?
Yeah, I want to do like big time, like I don't know if you've ever heard of the director Jacob Owens, but Jacob Owens is like the big guy I look up to because he made himself a millionaire just off of doing cinematography like I'm doing now, but he took those revenues and made it to multiple revenue streams. So he built like 4 different companies under cinematography. So he made like a filter company where they make, I don't know if you've ever heard of Prism Lens Effects. That's his company. They're killing it right now, selling all those filters. I have a couple. They're pretty sweet. But then he made like his own filming locations in LA that you can rent. So it's pretty cool to see like all of the revenue streams you can make off of just being a cinematographer. And that's the one thing I want to capitalize on because most people don't in the industry, but instead of just wanting to get that one revenue stream is more of like capitalizing on between like multiple revenue streams in one.
Sure. That's kind of how the modern creative has to do their work now, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much easy access to like these materials now. Like back to the very beginning of what we were talking about, like a consumer DSLR, a camera that can shoot in 1080, 60 frames per second is like pretty affordable now. You can get a GoPro. You can get a GoPro that shoots 4K 60 for $200-$300, right? Which is like, I admit that's a lot for a certain consumer. But if you're really looking into getting a quality video done, you can get a $200-$300 camera, action cam, that does a lot of different things. It does so really the medium in and of itself, you're paying for either the differentiation between like the skill level of using the camera. Like two people are not going to take the same shot, right? Like especially an experienced videographer, cinematographer, director versus like just somebody who purchased this on their own. And then but just because they have the ability, I feel like it drives that price down, right? Because it's like you have to be willing to find that middle ground between like, oh, I can just do this myself, and oh, I want to hire somebody who has the skills to take this to the next level, but I don't have like $100,000 to hire somebody.
Right.
So you have to create multiple different revenue streams, right?
I mean, that's also
have you bumped
where
into
like
that at all?
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple different revenue streams right now. Freelance. I mean, you've already freelanced the cinematography, live production, and then I also, for being GM of the TV station, I get like a full ride scholarship as my payment. So I'm basically going to school for free right now. So that's obviously really helpful because then I don't have to pay for school after I'm done. So I mean, even though I'm doing like all that work, I'm getting paid for it from the school. So
sure. Here's an interesting question. And I don't want this to turn into like a rapid fire question answer session, but this is an interesting question that I think is especially interesting because you're young, much younger than me. And would you say that going to school was beneficial for your career, or do you think that you could have, without having to worry about school, you could have maybe not doubled where you're at in your career right now, but if you would have just kind of, there's a lot of things you can't learn in a classroom, right? Like when you're on a set filming someone, it's like, oh, this type of lighting just doesn't work, or this focal length doesn't work. Like there's a lot of failing you have to do to get to where you're going. Yes,
it's extreme failure teaches you way more than success. So, no, but the big thing is, if it's like more towards like the freelance side of cinematography, I don't think school was worth it.
Sure.
I don't mean to dog on anyone, just because I've learned a lot more just doing gigs on my own. But for like live production, yes, I've learned so much of live production here. I've never touched my feet in live production until I got here.
Sure.
So I went from being nothing to where I technical direct football games. So, I mean, that's the big difference is a lot of live production I've learned here. But I mean, that's more what this school is geared towards anyway. It's more broadcast, so it makes more sense.
Sure.
But the big thing school gives you...
Do you like the broadcast side?
Yes, I do. I love it. Not so much like news. I hate news. Never will do news. But like, I got asked to...
Sports and live events.
If I wasn't doing this, I'm doing a theater production this coming up week. If it wasn't for that, I'd actually be... there's horse races down in Louisiana. But out of Liberty, Missouri, which is Kansas City, there's a new production house called LTN, which I kind of mentioned before that I'm going to start working at. Sure. And I was supposed to run robotic cameras down there this weekend, basically because, like, coronavirus, that's a thing. So they have these robotic cameras set up that are... basically controlling all of the horse races and stuff. So there's not actually people on the cameras, which is insane. But
that's cool though. Like robot cameras are cool. Inarguably, robot cameras are pretty dope.
It's cool, but it also loses the side of people getting paid to run a camera. So that's the big downfall.
Yeah, that's true. That's why people like you can technically direct them.
But then that means lesser jobs also, so it goes back and forth.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
Back to your question of, is it worth it? The biggest part, though, that's worth it is the connections. Like, I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for that.
Sure.
Because now that I think about it, I actually met you a year before we did that because you were on the show with Aaron that one time, too, as well.
That's right. I forgot about that. I meant to shout Erin out because she was the one who actually gave me your number and contact info. She was like, "Oh yeah, you need to hit up Craig. Craig's a dope dude." So shout out Erin. Shout out Erin Wilkins. Is that her name?
Yeah, that's her name.
Thank you for introducing us.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of the people I've met here and all that will like completely drive me into the rest of the rest of my work. So, I mean, like I've gained clients even on here on campus that I'm doing stuff for weekly or monthly. Yeah, it's just like the big thing I like to do is like I'll bring a lot of people from my TV station on shoots with me. So like if I'm doing like a wedding, I'll pay for the day, so $300, come shoot with me. A lot of them might not know as much with like using a Blackmagic or something like that, but they're gaining that experience. So then when I can hire them for big gigs, then I know I can trust them with it.
Right. Look at you passing on the knowledge and the experience to people who are following in your footsteps.
I still don't know everything though. Don't think that. I don't know shit.
Craig Richard, he knows everything. That is the takeaway from this podcast.
I do not.
That it takes you a senior year of high school and 3 years of college, and you know everything. No. Are you nervous about when college is over?
Nah.
And what your career pathway looks like?
Honestly, I'm not really nervous about it. Just because I feel like I've set myself up for success. I don't mean to like be like overconfident in that area at all, but I won't say any names or anything, but like compared to some of the students I am with at school, like I noticed the time I put in compared to them, and I mean I'm here working every single night, so I mean that's the big difference is just I know I've put the time in, but I mean I also have like traversed myself in 3 different areas, so that's the big difference is like I can go from live if I want to, or I can go to cinematography route or whatnot, so either or.
That diverse skill set. That's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
That's the recipe to success, is being able to do everything for everyone.
Well, I can't do everything.
Not everything. Not everything. But you know what I mean. Like being able to be useful in numerous different circumstances.
Yeah. And then also, I forgot to mention one thing. I forgot to mention one thing I do. So
well, it's not over.
After sessions, I've learned to do live mixing. So that also adds to it. Because, I mean, it's hard to live mix. It took me a long time.
Agreed.
I'm glad we had like 22 episodes in the matter of the full school year. So, and then, I mean, having that because I didn't have an audio person. So here I am, the producer, having to produce the video and produce a full-on studio session that I have no idea how to use Pro Tools. Like, it was my first time going into Pro Tools, and I'm like, how does this work?
Oh, man.
And
as somebody who has worked in Pro Tools for a really long time, that first time you open Pro Tools is just the worst.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're just like, if you've worked in like any kind of audio DAW, which is a digital audio workstation, which is where you record audio, if you've worked in any of those before, even like the most simple one, which I'm trying to think of what the most simple one would be, like GarageBand.
Yeah.
Pro Tools is like GarageBand on steroids and completely different language. The only similarity is that like when you record audio, little waveforms show up. That's like the only similarity between the two. But you learn to mix. I'm sure you were looking up like YouTube videos and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I'm not like a professional at mixing at all. Don't think that.
Sure.
But I can take a normal song and mix it to like the best of my abilities.
Sure.
So
and live is especially hard because you have to take into account a lot of like room and a lot of the fact that like people are probably playing together in a close vicinity. So I guess the difference for people who like don't understand how a typical studio session goes is like, at least in my experience, everybody tracks their parts separately. So you're able to isolate your instrument completely. And that way you get the most clean audio take of your instrument. And that way when you combine them all together, there's no bleed of the guitar into the drums. There's no drums bleeding into everyone's instrument because drums are huge and loud and roll all over a room.
They do.
And you're able to like isolate so you don't get any of these like reverberations off of a wall. If you've ever like talked in an empty room versus like talking in a room full of furniture or full of people, the sound is like significantly dampened and you're able to do that. But when you do it live, oftentimes people are in a close vicinity to each other. The audio is bleeding onto other tracks, so you're having a hard time isolating it. It's hard to not make everything sound muddy. So like that's trial by fire, man. That's not that's not an easy way to learn. I learned the other way. I learned how to do audio by doing everything isolated, and then I still don't consider myself a good live mixer, but
I don't either.
You have the confidence now.
I don't consider myself good, but I can at least do it.
What happened to the confidence that you had like 2 seconds ago?
I didn't have any confidence 2 seconds ago.
I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty good at what I do, but not audio. But I appreciate that. I appreciate staying humble. So I guess this is a good segue into the fact that you, I think recently, and I don't know if you're still doing this, wanting to produce your own beats too. Did that come from? Not anymore. Not anymore?
No.
What happened?
That was it. I was like, I think I was on the high note of wanting to figure this audio thing out, and then I realized I was trash. Sure. So, no, I just.
But were you trash, or had you just not put in your 10,000 hours yet?
I just didn't put my 10,000 hours. No, but I've been so surrounded by these amazing musicians in KC, like Remy Sturck, Danny Hayden, P and Beta, a bunch of these guys that can make anything from scratch. So I was like, well, if I ever need anything, I can just ask them. So I was like,
sure.
I was like, let's just focus on what I'm good at and not get into this beat making thing, because I know I've never like I've always wanted to do music, but I never did it like they did. Like they've done it their whole entire life since they like grew up, since they were like 5. So like it's like a big difference between like they know like this, like the little like what's this note, or like the big differences in those that make music what it is.
Sure. Yeah, and I'll admit, like, that's a hard thing to try to get into too. And there are a lot of people who have put in their 10,000 hours and they're still making trash. So I would say it's tough. Making music is tough, and I'm not going to profess to be like the best music maker either. But I just know that, like, especially with how music tastes evolve and how it's so subjective.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to, like, compare yourself. Do you ever have, like, that comparison war?
I mean,
where you compare yourself, you have, like, comparison envy?
I kind of had that issue with, I touched the camera with my leg. Sorry. I had that issue with, like, this quarantine whenever, like, I wasn't filming as much, just because there was people that were still making stuff. And but I stay away from that. I try not to do that, because I know something I make is totally different than what someone else makes. And I don't know, if you do that, then you're just like, it's just a bad habit to get into. I used to do that too a lot when I was, like, not in the place I am today. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that is something that you can struggle with as, like, a young filmmaker, is you're so new that you don't know what you don't know, and all you have is that other people are making similar things to you, but theirs looks so much better, right? And you don't understand that, like, it's taken them 5 years to get to that point, and you are 1 year into it. So in 5 years, hopefully you keep striving for that quality. Hopefully you keep striving for one more, echelon above where you're at right now.
Exactly. But that's definitely the best way to look at it, because most of the people you see on YouTube and stuff that are just now getting big or just now doing big things, like, they've been at it for like 5-10 years before this even happened. So, like, for sure, if you're in your second year, like, come on, you'll get there. Just work hard. For sure.
So let me just say, this has been an excellent conversation. Very casual, very organic. And I appreciate that, Craig, especially as one of my first guests. And hopefully we get to talk a lot more about a lot of different things in the future. But just wanted to say, I really appreciate you hopping on to the podcast.
For sure.
And hanging out for an hour and talking gear and talking the journey and putting up with, like, a little bit of probably my scatterbrainedness. Hopefully other people enjoy listening to this too. But before we leave, I'm interested, what would be one piece of advice that you wish that you could relay to your younger self when you were first making videos?
Okay, so I actually had this list I was going to talk about, because I know you were going that route. So I have this new thing, things to live by. It's a 6-part thing. It's basically, it came from Yes Theory. If you've ever watched Yes Theory is the best YouTube channel to watch on YouTube, guaranteed. Okay. If you've never watched
I've seen a couple of their videos. They do like crazy stuff, right? Like, that's their whole thing, is they don't say no to anything.
See, this flag right here is Seek Discomfort flag. That's what they are.
Okay.
Basically what they do is they bring you out of your comfort zone. So Seek Discomfort is the motto they live by. So if they like, here's a video that they do. Let's see. So they'll go to, like, a different country for 24 hours with no money and have to, like, get the culture and get money to eat or something.
Sure.
But the big difference in their videos is the 6 things I wrote down from them. It was from one of their videos, their 2018 video. Sure. They said this. 1, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to start anything. It doesn't matter if you're 40 years old. It's never too late to start something you love.
I love that.
2, action is the antidote to despair. So action over everything. Like, if let's see, like if you get an opportunity and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm not good enough, or blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. Just say yes. Like, just if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I've had many videos that have gone down the drain, but now I look at it as a learning opportunity. It's I know it was like maybe a terrible video, but it didn't work out with the person and they just didn't like it, or they were very rude. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
it does.
Number 3.
I like that one. That's the fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Or what I like to call anything is possible until it's not.
Exactly.
That's the motto that I live by on all. And the place that I used to work at in Omaha knows that was my motto, because I would say yes to anything. So, and it drove them nuts, I think. Well, we'll see. Anyways, okay, number 4. 4?
It's number 3.
4. Number 3.
Number 3.
We'll
joy.
Get there.
Joy grows when it's shared. So this is a big thing I've had to learn, because I was kind of like more like self-isolated when I was in high school. I didn't really want to hang out with people. I only hung out with like 2 people I wanted to hang out with. But the big thing I've learned in this is this. I kind of like this year I've learned a lot about this, because it's so much better when you have a team that has assembled this project, and when it's shared, that your team put this together. So like, it's joy to bring to what you guys have done, that you've made from nothing. I think that's a big thing to live by, because you never know. Number 4.
Yeah, for sure.
One yes can change your life. That is a different one. I know a lot of people will argue with me and say no, don't do that. But obviously there's going to be things that you say no to. I mean, it's just common sense. But say yes to the things that you've never done before. Say yes to the things that might come up that are, I don't know, just like something that's putting you out of your comfort zone. There's been as my job here on campus being the GM of the TV station, it's one thing I push with the other students I work with daily. A lot of them will say no because they're scared that they're not good enough. There's this one kid in particular, I won't say his name, but he is like an After Effects god. He's way better at After Effects than me. I am terrible at After Effects. I will say that right now. I am not good.
But you're good at other things, and that's what counts.
I'm good with the camera. But
there you go.
The main thing with him is he always will doubt himself. He'll be like, no, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. Or I brought him with my last wedding I did 2 weekends ago. And he goes, because I needed to borrow one of my buddy's Black Magics too, so I have 2 of them so we can match. And he was using the other one, and he goes, man, I just don't know if I can do this. Like having all this self-doubt. I'm like, it's like one of those things you have to embed in people, and then they'll be like, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that too, especially with just when you hire on people who may not be perfect in their execution. Maybe they've never done it before, but right. that you just know inside of you that they're going to be successful. You just need to push them. I can totally appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I try to do with a lot of the people at school, just because they're in the learning stage. I mean, they're gonna say no. It's obvious. But I mean, I'm in the learning stage too, so it doesn't matter. But like I said, having that mindset towards them obviously will make them want to do more. So number 5.
For sure.
Number 5. A stranger is a friend you haven't met yet.
I like that. It's especially as I was just from the first episode that I had, I was talking about how I am an extrovert, right? And through this whole pandemic, that we've had, I've had very little opportunity to meet strangers, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what gave birth to creating the podcast, was like, not only do I want to like have great conversations and talk with my friends like you and other people who are going to be on this podcast, but I also want the opportunity to sit down with people I don't know and get to know them and get to know their journey and get to know those things. So that's cool. That's a good one. Unless you're a young child, in which case strangers are dangerous and do not go with them.
Yeah. I mean, I try to use that one because I'm actually like introvert. Like, I get to like the one point, like if I'm like with people all day, I get to like the point where I'm just like, no, I gotta just go home and chill.
Recharge the batteries.
Yeah, recharge the batteries.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
That's the big thing I've been trying to like push out and not have that as much. So like that little sentence like makes you think like, oh,
for sure,
we can be friends.
I like
Number
that,
6 and the last one. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah,
no. Yeah, number 6.
Number 6. On the other side of fear hides ultimate bliss. It's a deep one.
Dang, that is a deep one. Saying conquering your fears?
Yeah, so just don't be scared to go try something new. That's the big deal. Like I obviously wanted to go do that thing this weekend, running the robotic cameras. I've never done anything like that, but I was going to say yes to it because I wanted to go do it. Yeah. It's something I've never done. He's like, the guy that I was talking to that wanted to hire me for it, he goes, "You good at video games?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good at video games." He's like, it's basically like running a controller. And I was like, okay.
I got you. Strap up that, I don't know what platform you play on. Xbox? PlayStation? Ooh, boy. Well, we'll talk about that later. But I will probably convert to PlayStation this fall or whenever the PS5 comes out. But anyways, so it's like a PlayStation controller. That's what I would be assuming. I don't know. But you know what? That's on the other side of fear, right? You're going to show up. You're going to kill this robot. Well, you're not going to kill the robot, but you're going to kill it in the game of recording with robots.
But I didn't get to do it because, I already committed to something else. So, but
right, still, that's still. I like that. Those are 6 really good pieces of advice, especially for like young filmmakers, young creatives, creatives in general, people in general. I think those are all really good pieces of advice, just because a lot of times I think that there are points where we feel like we're either too old to start something or we're too scared to start something, or just people are so stricken with fear about being new at something, right? And how everyone's going to judge them.
They're always thinking about what the other person's going to think. I had that huge problem in high school. Like, that was my fear in high school. It's just because I had some problems with people, like, hey, But we'll get... That's another topic. But
that's a whole nother episode. Yeah. That's a whole nother episode.
But, I mean, that's where, like, more just, like, growing up, you realize that you should, at least. Mm-hmm. But... it's something you wish you knew then, but... True.
That's very fair. Craig, I appreciate you dropping significant knowledge right before we sign off, but that is significant knowledge. So if you made it this far in the podcast, it was worth it. It was worth it in the end. And Craig, once again, just want to thank you so much for being a part of this new, strange, possibly disorganized, but definitely just a passion project right now, and just for being a very solid, dependable individual too, and also just super duper talented and inspiring for my own work too. When I create videos, seeing your stuff always inspires me to be better and create better. So I appreciate you being a part of this. No, do not. There's no tears on this podcast.
I can't cry.
There's cursing, but there's no tears.
It's too hard for me to just like cry banally, but that's fun. No, that's good. I'm so glad that I could do that because I didn't really know I could inspire anybody. That's cool. That's cool to know.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to shout out before we sign off?
If you're listening, you can follow me on Instagram at Craig Richard Visuals or just search me on YouTube, Craig Richard. But yeah, I mean, me and Isaiah have made a music video before, hoping to make more. So,
absolutely, we will. I'm working on a new record right now, and I kind of want you to be a part of the entire like aesthetic. Anyways, that's a whole different thing. We can talk about that later. People that need to know about this. But you heard it here first, folks. Go follow Craig on Instagram. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Craig Richard Visuals, on all of them, I'm assuming.
It's just Craig Richard on YouTube, though, right now.
Craig Richard on YouTube, Craig Richard Visuals on Instagram. Follow him. Tell him that you think that his stuff looks crispy as like crispity, crunchy Butterfinger BBs that don't exist anymore. And we will catch you guys in the next episode. See you later.